All right, we are now an hour into the trading day, and let's take another look at markets for you. That's the Dow Jones Industrial, and after this first hour of trading, it is mostly up about 160 plus points, although not by a significant margin. But we'll keep an eye on this throughout the day.
We sure will. We have some fresh CBS News polling that shows people across the country are unhappy with the current economic conditions. 59% say gas prices have been a financial hardship or made life more difficult. 38% say they're frustrated with the Trump administration's approach to the economy, and 32% say they're angry. Joining us this morning from Dallas is CBS News business contributor Javier David. Javier, what does this kind of data tell you about how Americans are feeling financially?
Yeah, look, it's really no secret why consumers are so stressed. The main culprit is inflation. It's not whipped. Gas prices are basically a tax, and they're being worsened by the Iran war to the extent that people are unhappy about rising prices. New records on Wall Street or strong corporate profits really are not going to shift the vibe. And last week's CPI and PPI data that we got told us everything we need to know, really, about the reasons why consumers are frustrated. Costs on just about everything are high and rising. The Strait of Hormuz's closure is set to make everything that much more costly. The president gave some comments of his own last week in which he suggested that frustrations about affordability were outweighed by denying Iran a nuclear weapon. And it feeds this impression of the White House being sort of increasingly disconnected from a lot of these pocketbook issues that are surfacing in the CBS poll and elsewhere, including consumer sentiment reads that are watched by investors.
Those all appear to be, if not like red flags, maybe orange warning flags when it comes to the direction of the economy and how most Americans feel. The president has also now successfully had his nominee for a new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh, get approved last week. But the president also said he wants to see rate cuts. There doesn't appear to be any indication that that's necessarily good for the economy at the moment. What do you make of that and how it might factor into the future?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds as if the president is bowing to the realities, in part because he realizes how the war is scrambling the inflation outlook. That's one. And giving impetus to the surge that we're seeing in global government bond yields, which for my money, people aren't talking about nearly enough as they should. And Fed policy, is they find themselves sort of trapped. And this one economist said to the Financial Times last week that it's an impossible situation because benchmark yields are pushing up government borrowing costs as well as consumer borrowing costs. The bond market is broadcasting an extremely loud signal that thanks to inflation, there's no more room for rate cuts this year or even next. And the monetary policy consensus is becoming divided because jobs growth is sluggish. It could use some monetary stimulus, but inflation just won't go away. And this is all happening at a time when the Fed has really kind of lost credibility on the issue of inflation targeting. We've been above the 2% threshold for 62 consecutive months. That's like 4 years, but relentless. Inflation makes it feel like dog years, actually.
You're not wrong. Javier David, thank you so much.
Thank you, Javier.